Hey everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how many people we have watching this stream so far. Let's see. Are we actually live? That's the question. Yes. So far? Yes. Seems like we are live. So we're just gonna wait for a few more people. Hope everyone's doing well on this Saturday night. There has been so much news. It is it's literally crazy. I can't believe how much news there's been. Here we go. We have someone else online. Welcome, welcome. So tonight's stream is basically going to be a presentation about the current state of the US election and the allegations of fraud. I have a nice PowerPoint thing going on, and after I've covered that, we can move on to opening it up for chat and questions and stuff like that. Okay, if you are online, please just say hello in the chat. This was arranged at quite short notice. Apologies for that. Excuse me. Okay. So at the moment, it seems like I'm the only person watching. I don't know. We have somebody else screaming into the void, it would seem. Okay. So let's have a look. Let's share this PowerPoint thing that I have at the moment. Let me share the StreamYard link as well for everyone. Okay. Apologies for the dead air, people. Very, very unprofessional. Okay. So the situation as it stands at the moment. Screen sharing. Excuse me for a second while I set this up. PowerPoint. Oh, for Christ's sake. Sorry. Screen problems, technical difficulties. Excuse me, just for a second. Oh, for God's sake. Come on, come on. Right. Right, and we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for that. Just needed to set up screen sharing. The technical difficulties as per usual. Okay, now. Okay, here we are. The US election aftermath, a tale of two different narratives, which is essentially what we have at the moment. Oh my God, I've got two. No, it's fine. Sorry. just fucking about two different narratives. So at the moment, the US election has happened, and we have two essentially very, very different narratives coming from both the left and the right on exactly what has happened. Key questions that will be covered in this presentation. What are the narratives on both sides? Why does Trump think that he has won? Is there any evidence of election fraud? Will the Supreme Court decide the election? And will the US have a crisis of legitimacy regardless of outcome? So firstly, the view from the Democrats, which is that Biden has won comfortably. Trump is a sore loser, and he should concede. Biden is the president-elect, and essentially the only reason that Biden has not been confirmed is because the bad orange man is bad. The Cheeto dictator refuses to give up power. They'll have to prize him out of the White House like a recalcitrant oyster. This message has been repeated with remarkable clarity across all the mainstream left. All the fact checkers are out in force to conform to this narrative and to make sure that everyone sticks to the same script. This is possibly the most blatantly partisan time in US politics that I can certainly remember, even more so than 2016 or any other period. As you can see on this map, according to the Democrats, Biden, this is from the New York Times, Biden has won by 306 electoral votes to Trump's 232. Yay, yay. Orange man, so bad. He deserved to fall. And now that he has been removed, the healing can begin. And the Truth and Reconciliation Commissions and the drawing up of lists and the rounding up of people, which is some very, very creepy language indeed. The view from the Republicans is that, and this is the more accurate view, realistically speaking, is that there are a number of legal challenges in a bunch of different states. Biden has not been confirmed because he hasn't. The confirmation will only take place after the Electoral College has signed off on it. And for that to happen, all legal disputes in disputed states have to be finished and resolved. And at the moment, as far as I'm aware, there are legal challenges going on in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, and possibly Arizona. I'm not sure. Trump has alleged widespread fraud and impropriety in this election, and is bringing a number of suits with the aim of taking the electoral decision to the Supreme Court, although he may not have to actually bring it that far. Breaking news, which I did not manage to get into this presentation, is that he has reassigned a number of justices to the circuit Supreme Courts, which cover a number of states. I think there are 7 circuits covering the whole country. And these justices are mainly Republican Supreme Court justices, such as Amy Coney Barrett, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, etc. So if these current cases get kicked up to the circuit court, then it's entirely possible that they will be resolved in Trump's favor. The Trump team case is being led by Rudy Giuliani. He did a press conference yesterday where he alleged widespread fraud. He says he has thousands of sworn witnesses who are willing to testify under oath, thousands of sworn affidavits. He claims that the votes were systematically changed by insecure voting machines and by election infrastructure run by Dominion and Smartmatic. He also alleges coordinated activity by the Democratic Party in major urban centers, and he claims that Wisconsin, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Arizona have all been stolen. The mainstream media on the left is heavily rejecting these fraud claims. They claim that all of Trump's assertions are baseless, again, that he is just a sore loser, and that all allegations of fraud are a conspiracy theory by crazy QAnon people designed to complicate the transition for Biden. Although I must say at this point, if it is indeed a conspiracy theory, it is a conspiracy theory that is fervently believed by approximately half the country. I believe the latest poll is that 47% of the US population believes that there was something funny about the election. I think that's from Rasmussen. I don't have the exact poll data on me. As far as evidence goes, we will have to wait for the court case. Although some of the affidavits have been released, they make for quite interesting reading. There are also a number of data scientists who have raised some serious questions about statistical anomalies in the election, and other data scientists that believe that they have discovered serious anomalies in the live New York Times data that was streamed live on election night. And since it's public, anyone can look through it. The claim is that Smartmatic essentially does a sort of salami slicing thing to gradually flip votes between two candidates to favor the candidate that you want to win. And usually this is done very, very subtly, so that nobody notices, with the aim of giving the winning candidate at least a 3% lead by the end of the election, 3% apparently being a good enough margin so that everyone will be satisfied and there will be no serious disruption afterwards. There have also been other cases, particularly in Wayne County in Detroit, has apparently refused to certify. Now, this is quite a complicated story. Supposedly, the Board of Canvassers in Wayne County, who are literally only there to sign off that the numbers all match. It is composed of 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans. And the 2 Republicans refused to certify because the numbers did not match. They were then threatened by the Democrats and doxxed, and a lot of sort of very sort of mafioso style threats were made on a Zoom call that has since been leaked and is now public. And they then said, okay, well, we will certify as long as you agree to a independent audit. And the Democrats are like, yep, fine. So they signed. And then the Democrats turned around and said, no, we're not going to do the audit. So the 2 Republican canvassers have signed an affidavit saying that they withdraw their certification and that the certification was done under false promises and duress. I believe this now kicks the problem up to the state canvassers board. Exactly how they're going to go on this, I'm not sure, although my understanding is that it's Republican controlled. Despite what the mainstream media have been saying, it is not the media that calls the outcome of an election. It is indeed the Electoral College. So Biden is not the president-elect, despite his attempt to garner legitimacy by, making a phony office of the president-elect, which is not really a thing. Although, it could be a thing once he was confirmed as president-elect. But until he has been certified, until the election is certified by the Electoral College, he is not the president-elect. Audits and recounts have been called in a number of states, and the current environment is extremely confusing. Not only is this story quite fast-moving, but due to the intense propaganda war surrounding this election and the massive gulf between both sides and their sort of real inability to meet in the middle, again, you have two essentially different and completely separate narratives. And which of these narratives is true is really going to have to be decided in a court of law. Which brings me on to the last point. Will the Supreme Court decide the outcome? Well, that's that's an interesting question, and I think it is highly likely. Either the circuit courts will make a decision on whether to allow all the votes, and given some of these states are extremely close, it could flip these states for Trump and thus hand him the election. The Democrats are obviously very, very aware of this, and they are fighting tooth and nail to stop that from happening. There is precedent for the Supreme Court deciding an outcome. Bush Gore in 2000 was one such election. If you're old enough, you may remember the scandal of the hanging chads back before they had electronic voting, where there was much toing and froing over which ballots should be counted and which should not be counted, and some of the ballots were malformed and thrown out, and all of this kind of stuff. Again, accusations of fraud and impropriety have been made, and they're not just going to go away. And these accusations need to be resolved. If they are not, then we will have serious problems with the outcome of the election, and either side may refuse to accept the outcome regardless of what happens. Which leads on to whether the US will suffer a crisis of legitimacy. Now, regardless of which side wins, questions will be raised about the integrity of the US electoral system, which may require many years to undo. It will damage the legitimacy of whichever candidate wins, because whoever wins, the other side will essentially say, oh, you didn't really win, you cheated, and this is very, very bad for democracy in general. This may provoke a push to modernize and secure and indeed bring under federal control the US election infrastructure, which at the moment is mainly handled by the states, and much of it is handled by private companies, some of whom are extremely shady, like Smartmatic, for example. There is a affidavit that has been published that alleges that Smartmatic was in fact originally founded by associates of Hugo Chavez in Venezuela as a way to keep him in power. Again, whether this is true or not, I do not know, but someone has signed an affidavit to this effect, meaning if they are lying, they are open to perjury charges. This is one of the things that I would like to address to the people on the left. These affidavits are not just people talking smack on the internet. If you lie on an affidavit, you open yourself up to perjury charges. It's quite serious. It's the same as lying in court. A sworn affidavit is where you swear that something is true, and there are penalties if it is not. What will happen after the election? Will there be violence? Well, the right has been activated by the accusation that Biden stole the election. They have said that they will keep resisting until Trump is declared the winner. Up until this point, the right has been relatively quiescent. There have been a few cases of lone wolf attacks and people flipping out, but there has not been any concentrated action where all of them turn up with weapons and attack anyone or anything. If Trump loses, this could be a real possibility. The Proud Boys especially are extremely behind Trump in this regard, and have said that they will keep protesting and showing up until Trump is declared the winner. If Trump does win through legal challenge, there will absolutely, in my opinion, be violence from the left. Antifa is going to kick off massively. I would expect more riots in major urban centers, more fires, probably more killings. Exactly how bad it'll get, no one knows, but it could get pretty significant in my personal opinion. Right, that's about it.
thanks for coming to my TED Talk. If anyone is actually on the YouTube screen, on the YouTube channel, and wishes to, say anything, or indeed, you can come on the StreamYard if you want to come and check it out. Hello, all new listeners. It seems like we actually have some listeners now. Thank God. It's a little less intimidating than simply talking into the blank internet. I'm happy to open it up for discussion if anyone else would like to jump on and say hello. Until that happens, just to fill some dead air, I'd like to talk a little about the accusations regarding Smartmatic and Haley Ulysses, nice to see you, man. About the allegations with Smartmatic and Dominion. Now, as I already mentioned, Smartmatic has been accused of being set up by Chavez in order to specifically rig elections. The allegation is that Smartmatic was literally designed that way from the ground up. Now, this is a extremely serious charge. I mean, it doesn't get more serious than this. There are also charges that Soros has had a hand in it, that China and Cuba have also had a hand in this. These are potentially explosive charges. If this can be proven in court that there was foreign interference, then unlike Russiagate, which basically fizzled out into nothing, this will be very serious. Wars have been started over less, let me assure you. So if there is solid proof, and there has been a rumor circulating for a while, again, this is not confirmed, I have merely heard it reporting, although apparently Sidney Powell, who's one of the main lawyers for the Trump team, has come out and said as much. The allegation is that the votes being counted in the US were being sent out of the country by Dominion to a company called Skytel, SYCTL, which is a Portuguese company that had servers in Frankfurt, Germany. Now, apparently, these servers were seized by the US Army on the night after the election, or very, very close to the election. I was following this rumor on Telegram when it came out, and I'll say one thing about Telegram: not everything you hear is true. But if you want, the freshest, most up to date news, the closest to the coalface, that is most definitely the place to be. Shout out to Alex Sangmore and his excellent election fraud channel. Big ups, guys. There are a lot of excellent people and so much good information on there. Highly recommend it. Now, if this is true and the vote alteration was being done remotely, in other words, this is some kind of man-in-the-middle attack. So instead of the vote count being sent from the individual counties, where they then get sent on to places where they're aggregated and counted. If instead, right, that data was being sent out of the country to a foreign server where it was being manipulated and then sent back, then not only is this an incredible breach of security, but if the army does indeed have those servers, then it should be able to analyze every single bit of traffic that came in and out of those servers, meaning that there will be a full and complete trail of every single vote that was changed. Now, that is pretty much incontrovertible proof. So again, big if true. It's hard to say whether it is true, but if it is very, very big. Trump has already made assertions to the effect that, hey, James, thanks for listening. It's good to see you all. Hey, Vissy. He has made accusations that he won comfortably, and I think somewhere in the region, I think the number of 7 million or something votes need to be thrown out or have been switched in his favor. Again, big if true. This will be the kind of thing that will be going to court. I believe this is all going to kick off on Monday. Another interesting thing to note is that despite the mainstream media saying that the cases being brought by Trump have been quote unquote dropping like flies, according to Giuliani, and honestly, he would be the guy to know. He is the head of Trump's legal team. He says that these cases were mainly brought by private citizens. They weren't brought by the government. And most of these were actually properly dismissed for lack of standing. I presume that's a legal term. I don't know exactly what that means. Possibly lack of jurisdiction or something like that. Now, this would make a certain amount of sense because these cases were dismissed very, very quickly. And based on what I've read, they weren't very, very well put together. Indeed, there were a bunch of articles in places like the New York Times and Washington Post crowing about how badly prepared these legal cases was. You know, bad orange Cheeto man can't even organize a lawsuit. Yeah, I don't freaking believe that. I mean, if you have seen the press conference with Giuliani and Sidney Powell especially looks like a very, very competent lawyer. I've known a few lawyers in my time, and when they get that fucking look in their eye, like Sidney Powell has, they have fucking evidence. They do not get that look in their eye unless they know they have shit to back up what it is they are saying. So apparently these new cases, Giuliani says that they have only 3 going at the moment. And Giuliani also says that they have not actually presented any evidence yet, which would make a certain amount of sense because this evidence is likely to be explosive. I think disposing of all of these other court cases first is probably a good move. It will provide less distraction. And once all of the petty cases have been dismissed, there will only be the 3, possibly 4 major suits left in court. The question will be then, what will the mainstream media actually do? Will they pretend that the cases don't exist? That is going to be hard. At some point, reality is going to have to break in. Biden supporters will be like, you know, why has bad orange Cheeto man not conceded? I suppose they could spin it again to say, well, bad orange Cheeto dictator has not, submitted yet because, I mean, you know, he's a child and he's a racist and he's a homophobe and, you know, he's a bad orange man, you know, so you can't expect him to do anything. You know, we'll have to like kick down the White House door with the special service and drag him out in diapers and give him a good spanking. But that does not seem to be at all what Giuliani and Powell are saying. They believe that they have very, very serious evidence. Now, when this evidence comes out, as I said, it's going to be a very, very interesting thing to see. The news on the right will definitely report it. The news on the left is going to suffer a massive cognitive dissonance. So obviously, Orange Man bad, and therefore anything Orange Man's lawyers say is also bad and a lie. So anything they say obviously cannot be true. Orange Man, Giuliani works for Orange Man. Sidney Powell works for Orange Man. Anyone who works for Orange Man is obviously bad. I mean, Orange Man bad. Anyone who works for Orange Man bad. I mean, it's very, very simple. But at some point, the proof is going to come out. Now, exactly what will happen when this happens, I honestly don't know. I would expect my prediction would be that they will ramp up the coronavirus restrictions to distract people from the story. But this may actually have the opposite effect. If everyone's like, you know, stuck at home with nothing to do but go on the internet and watch YouTube, this may actually work against them. I would also expect Antifa to start rioting again. I would generally expect more of the sort of climate of fear and intimidation to kick up much more in the forlorn hope that the left can somehow stop this train from derailing if they just call enough people racist. Now, I personally think that this way of shutting people down is actually beginning to reach the end of its lifespan. Thank Christ. I, for one, cannot wait until simply calling someone a racist is no longer deemed a good reason to stop listening to what they're saying, and people actually have to go back to countering your facts with other facts. It's really just a very, very lazy way of saying, you know, I don't want to listen to you because I don't agree with your ideas, even if your ideas have some merit. And you see this particularly applied to people. I mean, sometimes it's warranted, but even Alex Jones was right about Epstein. Even a stopped clock is right twice a day. To simply dismiss a source because you do not agree with its ideological backing is, it's not good. You could say it's a symptom of the post-truth era at the moment. With so much information everywhere, people don't really know which information to believe, and thus people fall back onto a sort of ideological or tribal way of looking at things. My side thinks this, therefore I will support information that supports my side. And you wind up in an echo chamber. It can be very, very hard to escape. Although it seems to me at the moment that the left's echo chamber is tighter than the right, but the right also have their own echo chamber, obviously. I mean, everyone's living in their own little echo chamber at the moment. Right, so that's about it. Does anyone have any questions at all? We have like 10, 11 people watching now. Hey, everyone. This has just been a short presentation. People are starting to drop off. Okay, well, thank you very much for coming. I really, really appreciate everyone who showed up. I'll be posting this around. Thank you all, and have a good night.